Here's another tutorial on how to paper mache. This time we're going to do the organic slash sphere shape that we made with no straws or anything except newspaper and masking tape. So you have your strips of newspaper already torn. You're going to dip them in the paper mache liquid, which is a mixture of, in my case, white glue and water, half and half. And it's about a melty ice cream consistency. You dip it in and then you just squeeze out with your fingers the excess liquid. There should be no drips on that strip of newspaper when you take it out away from the bucket of liquid. And then you just apply the newspaper around the ball or the shape. And if it's having trouble to stick at first, it will stick more as you get more newspaper on there, and the wetness will stick to each other. The newspaper likes to stick, especially when it's torn and not cut. So that's why we tear it. It makes a smoother application, and it wants to grab onto the other pieces better. So you might want to use some smaller pieces. So I started out with some longer strips, and now I'm going to start using shorter pieces because there'll be less wrinkles that way. So if you use the longer ones, you're going to find there are going to be bubbles, and you'll see what I mean because I'm doing it so I can show you. Do you see the edges there? There are some bubbles. If you just keep it smaller bits, then you'll probably be avoiding more of those bubbles. You can always smooth them with your fingers. At this point, it doesn't really matter because we're going to make this first layer and let it dry fully, and then we'll be adding additional layers, letting them dry, doing more layers and letting them dry until the whole object is really hard, kind of like a wooden toy. It will be very durable. So it's okay if there's some little imperfections at the beginning. You want to try to get it as smooth as possible, but it's really not about perfection at this point. So you should just enjoy the process. I think that it's kind of a nice thing right now, especially when we're in front of the computer so much, just to get away from the screens and just kind of play in something a little and get a little bit messy, let our fingers experience a new sensation. So I think it's really relaxing to be doing this kind of project because you don't have to think hard and it feels nice on your fingers and it cleans up really easily. If you get a little splat of glue or paper mache liquid on the table accidentally, even though you put down your protection on top. But if you get any on your table or on your clothes, it's washable. So just take a warm sponge or a cloth with water and a little dish soap and just wash it right off before it dries. No problem. So, and just carry on with this. So you can see, just keep going until you've covered the entire shape. And then after that, you're going to set it off to dry and when it's dry, we'll do another layer. You can see my technique. I'm just smoothing it with my fingers. Right now it's really wet because there's so much paper on it. And my fingers are really wet. So sometimes I'm just dipping my fingers in and adding a little bit more wetness to a piece of paper that's pretty dry to start with. So you'll find your techniques. The main thing is to have fun and to let it dry when you're done.